By the time we left Black Point, we were getting pretty anxious to reach Georgetown. Georgetown was the end of the line for this voyage, the furthest point south. After that, it would all be backtracking to the north and the west. We made one stop between Black Point and Georgetown at Prime K. We had to negotiate Prime Cut, which was tricky with a very strong current, and there was a sandbar that had to be crossed at high tide to get to the anchorage we wanted. But we got in with no problems. Visually, it was a stunning spot, but the mosquitoes and no-see-ums were the worst we'd experienced for a while. The only other thing of note there were the starfish. There was a shallow lagoon adjacent to the anchorage, which we took the dinghy to, and saw starfish approaching 3 feet across. I did not realize starfish got that big. Our sail from Prime K to Georgetown was beautiful, as you can see. It wasn't a fast sail, but it was relaxing and peaceful, and it was with mixed emotions that we dropped the hook in Georgetown Harbor, knowing that when the anchor came back up again, our direction would be homeward. Our first day in Georgetown was cloudy and rainy. We concentrated on boat chores, Bible study, and I played a little guitar. The only thing of note that happened that day was this seaplane making a water landing right by our boat. Very cool stuff.
The next day, we decided to go ashore and have a look around town. It was a quaint little place with a well-stocked grocery store, which we were in desperate need of. They had a straw market where artisans crafted beautiful baskets and hats and sold cheap souvenirs. There was also a nice variety of restaurants. We had some fantastic jerk chicken at a little seaside grill for lunch, and then went to an ice cream shop where we were accosted by a neighborhood cat until I let her lick my bowl.
The following day, the wind changed direction. It had been blowing out of the east when I chose our anchorage, so I picked a spot on the east side of the harbor. But now it was coming from the west, which put Born Again a couple hundred feet from a lee shore. While I have grown to trust our anchor more and more, this was still not a situation I was all that comfortable with, so we decided to move to the west side of the harbor. This would turn out to be one of the most fortuitous decisions we would make on the entire voyage. We had barely set the anchor in our new spot when a mother dolphin and her calf came by for a visit. They stayed with us, swimming circles around the boat for the remainder of the afternoon. Griffin was very excited and desperately wanted to join them in the water. They finally disappeared around sunset. The next day, I was talking to a man from a nearby vessel on shore. He had seen the dolphins circling our boat and wondered why we had not joined them in the water. I told him that I assumed with the young calf present, the mother would not welcome us and she would just leave. He said that she welcomed human interaction and that she'd been in the area for over a decade, showing up with a new calf every few years. Needless to say, when they showed up again that afternoon, we quickly grabbed mast, snorkels, and the GoPro and joined them in the water. Georgetown is a busy harbor, so the water is not as clear as we had grown accustomed to, but I still managed to get some pretty great footage of them. The calf was particularly friendly, often swimming right up to within arm's reach. To say that swimming with dolphins in the wild was a highlight of our voyage would be an understatement. I would list it as a highlight of my entire life, and the excitement of the experience returns just watching this video. On our final day in Georgetown, the dolphins returned one last time. They arrived about 10 a.m. and stayed with us the entire day. Our departure the following morning was difficult, knowing that we may never see them again. But I have a feeling we will.
Our final excursion in Georgetown was a dinghy ride to Monument Beach and then over to the Chattanshell. As Bahamas beaches go, Monument Beach was not spectacular, but it was nice enough and it did have an interesting feature. Cruisers had used rocks to write their vessels' names in huge letters in the shallow water beneath Monument Hill. Those visiting the monument would look down the 120-foot hill and see the vessel names below. We didn't visit the monument, nor did we take the time to find enough rocks to write "Born Again" in 6-foot letters, but we enjoyed seeing what others had done and even saw the names of some boats we knew. From there, it was off to the Chattanshell. In Cruiser's world, the place is really well known. One simply does not visit Georgetown without a stop by the Chattanshell. We are often disappointed by these so-called must-visit establishments, usually preferring God's creation to man's. But in spite of it being the off-season and really quite dead, we found it to be a pretty great spot. Before we even got out of the dinghy, we were greeted by 2 stingrays in the water and some pulsating reggae rhythms from the tree-mounted speakers. The place just really brings new meaning to the phrase, laid back.
The Chattanshell.
Jill, what do you think, wife?
I like it.
It's got a nice vibe to it. And the virgin mango daiquiri, top notch. Not worth the $8 I paid for it, but when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Good stuff.
Thanks for watching, folks. Join us next time as we begin our trek back to the States, making stops at Compass Cay and Nassau before crossing back over the Gulf Stream to Boot Key Harbor, where this voyage began. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Fair winds and following seas, and may God bless you all.